Hello.
How are ya? I can't see
Um,
you quite yet.
no?
Nope, just hear ya.
Hmm.
See.
Oh, it's for some reason
There we
the
go.
video. Yeah,
Hey,
the video was turned off.
okay. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Good. So, let's start from the beginning. Tell me a little about who you are, what you do, and then if you want to segue into how you found this journey, you can do that too.
Okay. Those
Start-
are big questions.
Yeah.
So who I am and what I do?
Yeah.
Let's see. So I'm Glenn Ambrose. That's who I am by name. Um, I'm a spiritual teacher, a life coach, a podcast host, an author, and random other things.
Sure.
Retreat leader, whatever.
So
um
how did you find this soul work that you're doing?
it's nothing else worked. I bounced around for many years. I mean, I was really a mess most of my life up until I was like 35. So I just kind of living alcoholically, not doing anything, and everything kind of shifted when I was 35. My son was born. I got sober. I and everything started popping open. I really had some gigantic spiritual awakenings over like a 3-month period, and everything shifted. And then I spent years reading books and listening to audios, and I thought I was learning about spirituality at that time. And what I found out was that I had already awakened to the concepts. So what I wasn't really learning spirituality, I was learning a language to take what I understood inside me and birth it out into this world to help other people.
Sure.
So after years of taking in information, I kind of hit a wall where I couldn't take in any more information. And then I went through the learning curve of developing how to bring it out into the world in my own teaching style.
So did you
Um,
teach first or did you write first or what was your first
well, for me,
experiment in sharing it?
I was kind of teaching the whole time, because when I got sober, I got very involved with AA because
Okay.
that's what I was told to do. So and I actually listened for the first time in my life. So I was taking people through the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 steps in groups almost immediately after I got sober. So I started doing that and sponsoring people. So I was actually teaching people about spirituality, because the 12 steps is a spiritual program. It's
Sure.
there to induce a spiritual awakening. So the whole program of recovery, the reason it works is because it's spiritual. So I was teaching spirituality. I was teaching people how to live a happier, more fulfilled life as I was sponsoring people and taking them through the steps. So I was really fine tuning my craft as I went through that. And I was working jobs that were very unfulfilling. And I had more success at the jobs themselves because I actually had a head on my shoulders for the first time in my life. So I did well at the jobs I was at, but the level of unfulfillment and misery was the same as when I was drinking.
Sure.
So as I developed this teaching, then it got to the point where I just I had to go into it as a career, because I was like, there's literally, I cannot do anything for more than 2 or 3 years out in the world, and I can never excel at them. Like, I'm going to be struggling for the rest of my life unless I do what my passion is and what I feel comfortable doing and what makes me feel alive. And that was teaching about spirituality. So, it didn't make any sense at the time. My son was 12. He had gotten to the point where he couldn't take the living situation he was in at his mother's. So he ended up moving in with me, and which launched this huge custody battle for a year and a half, right when I decided, right with I didn't decide, the timing was right for me to start my business. I had found a way, or it fell into my lap, that I could collect unemployment for a while. So I could work part-time and collect part-time
Sure.
so I could get my bills paid. And I had about a year where this was going to stretch out, where if I was going to do something, I needed to do it then. So I did.
Yeah.
So I started my business and became a full-time single parent as opposed to a part-time single parent. I handled everything all at once. And so the next 6 years were really busy. Really busy, starting a business that I knew
Yeah.
nothing about, and being the single caretaker for my son. So it was a whirlwind.
So what is changing now? What are you using this current time that we're in to create, or what new beginnings are happening within your spiritual business that you've already been doing? Are you noticing any shifts with this
Oh
expansion?
yeah.
I mean, we're all noticing shifts, but what are you noticing personally with your business in particular?
Well, it does. It reminds me of that time where I was collecting and working, because there's these gaps of time. A lot of times people don't see them for what they are. They're opportunities.
Sure.
And so a lot of times people will be out of work and they'll hate their job and they'll collect unemployment. And instead of spending that time where they have time available to get a new education or pursue a new career, they just sit there. And then when their unemployment runs out, they go back to the job they hate. And like, that was one thing I did properly, is I saw it as an opportunity last time. So I'm looking at this as an opportunity this time. And
Yeah.
I'm going, okay, so I have more time. How can I get more creative in my business? How can I develop more passive streams of income that I've been thinking about doing, but I actually haven't done?
So
How can I?
what are you working on?
Well, I just recorded a 8-part course with a therapist in Canada, that we're probably going to be releasing very soon, within a matter of days. We want to get it out as soon as possible because it deals with the situation that we're in,
Okay.
getting a female and a male perspective, and a therapist, a very well-educated therapist, where I'm like school of life,
Yeah, sure.
street learner mentality, combining those two and getting a course with 8 different parts that can deal with all different parts of what people are going through. So that I've already done, but it's learning to embrace the technology more, trying to take advantage. There's a whole new series of needs now. Whenever there's great change, it develops great need. So there's specific needs that weren't there before, and it's about locating what those needs are and trying to meet them.
Yeah. And I think people are hungry for the knowledge and the spiritual insight and guidance during this. And that's what I'm noticing is it's a captive audience in a really inspiring way. People want to do things that are going to uplevel their downtime right now.
Right. Yeah. Those are the people that are going to benefit from this. I believe that there's a very foundational spiritual law that it's not what happens, it's how we react to it.
Yeah.
We live in a yin yang world. There's always 2 options. We either open or we close. We grow or constrict. We choose love or we choose fear. We choose
Sure.
problem or opportunity. And, I think those of us that if we look at the direction that we're being pushed to go inside,
Yeah.
figuratively and literally. So it's time for us to go inside and do the work that we've been too busy distracting ourselves to do,
Is that
and
what
come out
you're doing
better.
personally too during this?
Oh my God, yeah, because I have to, because not only do I have to, I think because of the way I try to live, I want to make sure my mouth and my feet are going in the same direction.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to live that way. I can't be I can't be inauthentic anymore. Like, I
Yeah.
haven't been able to be that in years. If I'm feeling one way, I have to go in that direction. And this is an opportunity, even though spirituality has been the foundation for my life for the last 17 years. and it's been my career for many years, is so growth for me to go through. And
Sure.
I have to embrace that. I have to embrace my growing edge so I can become more of what other people need,
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to start with myself, absolutely, and develop more compassion and more connect to my joy more, and refocus on how much my life is about serving other people. And it's a gift for me to really refocus and rehone specifically what I'm doing so I can help others more effectively.
I think that's the ideal way. We should all be living our life with such conviction in what we do, and the passion behind it.
Yeah, it's the best way, and that's when we're in alignment. And that's why I know that I have some growth to do, because I feel things very strongly. So this brings up multiple things, and it's like, okay, Glenn, go in there and dive into those feelings
Yeah.
and see what they're about, and expand, open to your growth, be the change you wish to see. But every one of us, I don't care who it is, we all have to start with ourselves. If I'm the best version of myself and you're the best version of yourself and somebody else is the best version of themselves, like, that's what society is.
Yeah.
A lot of times we point the finger at society and say there's something wrong with society. It's like, society isn't a thing. Society is a group of people. So if I take care of myself and you take care of yourself and somebody else does and somebody else does, all of a sudden the collective of what society looks like starts shifting.
Yeah.
We're trying to, point outside of us, and we have to change society. It's like, no, we have to change ourselves.
So
you know?
speaking of changing yourself or ourselves, what's one thing you need to shift to get out of your own way?
I think for me right now, like, I've spent, even as a child, I didn't like the feeling of fear within me. And I didn't know what I was doing. So I made some really bad choices to live my life not experiencing that fear. One was violence, one was alcohol. I used the really poor tools, so I didn't walk around with the fear. But the fact that I don't like the experience of fear, I've kind of always been like that. So now I use spiritual, healthy tools to not walk around with fear. And I think I'm pretty good at it at this point. Where my growing edge, I think, is that when I see massive amounts of fear, it tends to trigger me.
You're talking about with other people?
Right.
Sure.
Which, this is just such a collective,
Yeah.
massive amount of fear. I can get overly passionate about trying to tell people the truth, which is, I'll call it overly passionate to be kind to myself. It's frustration.
Sure.
So when I see, people just getting eaten up by this fear and perpetuating the fear, that bothers me. And I have to go, Glenn, you're not going to help anybody out of the energy of frustration with what other people are doing. The only way I'm going to help anybody is out of the energy of love. So I have to constantly disconnect from the frustration about what's happening in a negative way, and
Everybody's
reconnect to the
reactive.
love, and then teach out of the love.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the biggest growing edge I'm seeing. Don't get caught up in the frustration of the fear that people are experiencing. Anchor into the love before I open my mouth. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. I'm not perfect.
Yeah. Well, responding, not reacting, right? That's a big project that I'm working on also.
Yeah, pause and
Yeah.
make a conscious choice on how you're going to react instead of just
Yeah.
reacting.
That's some long life project for me.
Yeah, I think everyone,
Yeah.
I got real good at it for a while, and then not so much, and then I put energy towards, and I get real good at it again, and yeah, it ebbs and flows.
Out of all the work that you do in the different modalities, like what's your absolute favorite? What brings you the most joy out of the ways in which you help others?
I I love core, deep spiritual foundational principles. I just love them. I just love talking about how how everything's based in love, and I just love the deep core foundational spiritual principles because they're the foundation for everything. I believe that if anything works in the universe, which everything is spiritual in the universe, but when we bring it into the earthly realm, I think universal law or spiritual law trumps everything in here. So if we bring it into, if we look at anything that works consistently, we'll find a spiritual law behind it. So I love going to the core, understanding the spiritual law, and then bringing it into the human experience. Like it's like right now, one of the, like I was saying a minute ago, opportunity or problem. Like that's one of the 7 habits of highly successful people that they
Mm-hmm.
found, that they see opportunity where other people see a problem. Well, that is, if you live your life, they found that if you live your life, people who live their lives like that are highly successful consistently. So that's something that works on the earthly plane consistently. Well, behind that, there's a spiritual law that says it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with it.
What we do,
Open,
yeah.
close, love, fear, opportunity, problem. So it's, that's the type of stuff that it simplifies absolutely everything in our lives. And this complicated world we think we live in, it just really simplifies things. And that's what I love teaching that type of mentality, because like when you explain it in a very simple, matter of fact, clear way that's practical in people's lives, you see the light go on in there, like this spark of hope come back in their eyes, and this aliveness of hope that they can live their lives a different way. And I love that. There's a connection that forms. Like I'm teaching it, it's people are getting it, and the energy and the love and the joy, you can just feel it. It's palpable. And I love that experience.
And I think people need that more than ever. And one thing I really like about your work is that it feels really approachable for anyone. And you and I have talked about this with some of the classes that we offer with Wild Ginger too, because for me, it's being approachable to spiritual newbies, because I want to offer things to people that have not taken any leap into spirituality or self-help or personal development, and have it be approachable and relatable and accessible for them. That's key for me. That's the whole reason why I do what I do. And that's why your work always resonates with me too, because it's readily available for anyone at whatever level on their journey they're at, and it's not overly complicated or complex, and digestible bits of usable spiritual knowledge.
Right. Yeah. I think if you want to get closer to the truth, you simplify. If
Yeah.
you want to get further from the truth, you complicate. I believe that's a spiritual law. So when I'm teaching something, I want to simplify it. And
Yeah.
and I try to meet people where they are. I was speaking with somebody, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and they're very newbie to spirituality, and I kind of had an idea that they were. So I just said, okay, what do you believe in? And I do this fairly often when I'm working one-on-one. It's like, okay, what do you believe in? Because I don't care what you believe in. Like I don't try to teach people my path. The only thing I
Yeah.
know about my path is that it's not your path.
Sure.
So if I teach you my path, you're going to wake up at some point in the future and going, oh crap, I'm living Glenn's life, not mine. And then you're going to have to start over. So like, I want to help people on their path. So and if what I teach and what I believe in, if it actually is spiritual law, then it works in every situation, all the time, always, no matter what you believe.
Yeah.
It has to, because the universal law is not changing. It's never changing. It's permanent. So if that's true, then I should be able to take what I teach and implement it in anybody's life. So I was doing that with somebody. I'm like, okay, what do you believe? And he had a very minimal belief system in any type of spirituality. And I said, okay, cool, that's fine. Okay, so then you just bring it in a really practical way, like I kind of just did with the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. If you take a spiritual law and you bring it in and show people how it works in reality, in a practical sense in their life, like if you can teach them how picking out broccoli can bring them joy, well, that's something that they actually do. And if it clicks with the divine knowledge that they have within them and opens that, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. If anything I teach it has to be tangible. It has to be able to improve your life now. I don't get caught up teaching stuff and, oh, this is a nice theory and, theological. I mean, a lot of the stuff I teach is philosophical and theological, but I always bring it back into everyday life, because otherwise, what's the point? Sitting around on my couch going, oh, things could be wonderful. No, let's take that and bring it into how your life, you can experience more joy, peace, love, happiness in your life now. Otherwise, what's the point? You're going to sit on your couch and just like hover above a pillow until you die. And,
Yeah.
It's not real practical to me.
Making it usable. Yeah.
Yeah. Making it usable and practical, and to be able to enhance your life now. I think that, that's really important.
So if you, on the same vein of that, if you knew you would be supported with anything you wanted to do in your business or life, as big and bold as you could imagine, what would you do? Or what's left to do? Or what's next? The ultimate vision.
I think it's just evolving visions of what I'm already doing. I love doing my podcast. So I'll always do that, because I get to just get a topic and disconnect my brain and let information flow through me. That's like a foundational understanding of how I work. I don't think it's me. Like, I don't think I know everything, because I'm constantly hit with new situations, and like I can't know everything. So it's very clear to me that the information that flows through me when I'm working with somebody, when I'm doing a presentation, when I'm doing my podcast, that information is just flowing through me. I just if I do anything well, it's to get out of my own way and let information flow. It flows through my speech. I've always talked a lot. Just ask any of my teachers. So, and I didn't know its purpose. Now I understand that I connect to flow through vibration of voice. And, so I just talk, and half the time I don't even know what I'm going to say. Most of the time I have no idea what I'm going to say. And I just start talking, and the conversation takes whatever route it needs to connect with that person in that particular way.
Yeah. Almost like you're a channel for your messages.
Right. So, which is nice, because it really keeps me humble, because I know it's not me doing it. I can't take credit for something that I'm not even doing. So it's information flowing through. So, I think it's just, I can't stop doing that. Like, it's me, it's who I am. It's what I'm supposed to be doing. And I know that 100%. So it's just about doing it. I guess where my expansion is going to come is doing it in new, larger ways, because I know that because what I say comes from a divine source, it's really quality, and it can help a lot of people, because it's straight truth. So I know that I'm capable of bringing truth into this domain, of this earthly domain. And so my biggest goal now is just reaching as many people as I can, because I know that, but because I've heard that I'm relatable from many people. I can connect with people on lots of different levels. I can talk to PhDs and, and in an intellectual way where they feel that they're getting some intelligent knowledge, and I can speak to somebody that has no education, where they're, and I've kind of been in both places myself.
Sure.
which is a gift. So I can connect with people all over the map, and I know that that's a gift.
Yeah.
So I just know that I have a lot to offer. It's just keep putting it out and reaching as many people as I can in as many ways as I can.
Perfect. What are 3 words that embody the work that you do, or embody what it is you do with your business?
Love. I mean, everything's a foundation of love. You
Sure.
know, it has to be. It's either love or absence of love. So, so everything has to come from love. It has to be in a loving way. And I I've noticed over the years that a lot of people that I work with, I can't believe what I say to people. Like, if anybody else were to say it to them, they'd be completely offended. But it's amazing when you say things from the energy of love, how people will receive it.
Yeah.
So because if people can sense that your sole intention is to help them, they pick up on that and they'll stay open. So it's love, authenticity. I'm authentically me. Like, I mean, my podcast is Life Lessons in Laughter. And it's laughter because, yeah, I talked a lot, but I was also a class clown all through school. So a sense of humor is a large part of my personality.
Yeah.
So, and I don't make excuses. Like, every once in a while, there'll be a negative comment on one of my podcasts. It's rare, but it happens. And it's funny because I noticed that, like, usually in the comment, they explain why they shouldn't be listening to me, because they'll say something like,
Instead of
I
just
don't,
not listening to you.
I don't think, yeah, I don't think you should be laughing at such a serious subject. It's like, okay, well, then you shouldn't be listening to me, because that's exactly what I'm going to do, because that's who I am. I don't think, you need to bring in scientific research more. I'm not going to do that, so you shouldn't be listening to me. Like, so anything that when people criticize what I do, it's like, okay, well, you should definitely be finding another teacher, because I'm not supposed to connect with everybody. That's one of the biggest lessons I learned through all this, is I'm not supposed, there's almost 8 billion people. I couldn't handle the workload if I was supposed to life coach all of them. So there's only certain people that are supposed to click with me. And if I am authentically me, they will click with me. If I attempt to shift who I am to meet other people's expectations, then the people who I'm actually supposed to be helping aren't going to be able to click with me, because I'm not being me. So authenticity, and I think we all need to do that, because your version and another teacher's version is exactly the way people want to process information. And if you shift that for popular opinion, the people who you're supposed to be teaching aren't going to be able to find you.
Yeah. You can tell when you're listening to things like that, just you can perceive when people are curating content for what they expect you to want to hear versus what they really want to say or share.
Right. And it's, I mean, there's people who have made millions doing it,
Oh, sure.
It can be effective on certain levels. And I mean, it also can be doorways into finding deeper spirituality. I mean, there's a place for everything in this world,
Yeah.
but yeah, authenticity, love, and then I guess expansion. I think it's all about us expanding into better and better versions of ourselves. So
Yeah, and I think I was going to ask you for your last bit of advice before we wrap, but I feel like that those key words are really powerful advice in themselves.
yeah, it's our nature to expand. The universe is constantly expanding. Well, how is that happening? I mean, the universe isn't a thing. It's like society. It's made up of things.
Yeah.
So if the universe is constantly expanding, it's because the parts within it are constantly expanding. We're parts within it. So, so to me, it's, everything is moving, expanding. It's not in our nature to be still. It's, I think stationary or stillness equals depression, because the globe is spinning, the universe is expanding, everything's in constant movement and change. And if we're not, that's when we get depressed. When we just stop moving, stop growing, stop expanding. So I think it's in our nature. We have to expand to be able to live our lives in any sense of happiness or joy. You know,
Yeah.
joy, I think, is our authenticity in action. When we're expressing our authenticity, we experience joy. So, you know, I think that's what we need to do, is just keep expanding and expressing in new, more powerful ways, becoming better versions of ourselves. And it's fun. You know, when I'm not in the flow, it feels like work. Oh, I gotta do that meditation, and I have to do this. I gotta read this, and I have to work on myself. But when I'm in the flow, it doesn't feel like work. It's the most joy. Oh, I get to meditate. You know, I get to instead of I have to. Oh, I get to teach. Oh, I get to do this. I get to experience this. How wonderful is this? So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the sign for sure.
absolutely.
Well, thanks, Glenn. I look forward to chatting with you more and sharing some of your work with everyone, and lots more questions for you for the next round of these Dharma sessions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for
Great
having
to meet
me,
you.
and thanks for doing these. This
You
is
got it.
cool. As soon as I saw it, I was like, okay,
Yeah,
I
you're
love
on
this
my short list.
idea.
I'm happy that you joined in. Talk to
Yeah.
you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye.
You too. Bye.